Okay, it's your favorite raspy teacher back for more fun with point slope form. Okay, so what we have done before was slope intercept form of equations, and that was y equals mx plus b. Okay, and m is the slope, and b is the y-intercept. And if you don't have the y-intercept and you still want to write the equation, you're going to use the point slope form, which means you have a point and the slope. And what it's going to look like is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, y1 and x1. y1 and x1 are going to be your point that you have. And your y and your x stay y and x. But the y1 and x1 get substituted numbers for them. So if I'm going to use this formula to write this equation to write the formula for slope of 2 and this point, remember that they're minus signs, subtracting signs. So it's going to be y minus 2, and that's this 2 right here, equals to the slope times x minus 7. Okay, that is what point slope form looks like. Now, the thing about point slope form is you can use point slope form and simplify it and come up with slope intercept form. So if I took this form and I distributed, I would have y minus 2 equals 2x minus 14. I would add 2 to both sides, and I would end up with y equals 2x minus 12. So y equals 2x minus 12. And y minus 2 equals 2x minus 7 are the same formula, or the same equation for the same line. Okay, so the relationship is that they're the same. One uses point slope form uses any point. Slope intercept uses the y-intercept. So if you don't have the y-intercept, you can still write an equation for a line. You're just going to have a little bit different equation, which you can actually change to make it slope intercept form if you need to. So on number 4, I was going to show you on the graph how these are the same. I'm going to use the graph for number 6 when I'm done. So let's go ahead and write the equation in point slope form. My x1 and my y1 are right here. My slope is right here. Okay, so my equation is y minus 5 equals negative 4 times x minus 1. If I graphed that point on this graph down here at the bottom, I was going to go ahead and use for number 6. If I go ahead and plot 0.15, it's right here. And then if I know my slope is negative 4, I can go up 4 over 1. So I can go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And I end up with a point at 0, 9. And I could go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1. And I have that point right there. Okay, so if that line is my line, you can see that my y-intercept is at 0, 9. So let's take this equation and simplify. So let's distribute. Y minus 5 equals negative 4x plus 4. I add 5 to both sides. Man, I'm going to be glad when I feel better. And y is equal to negative 4x plus 9. We know that 9 is the y-intercept. We found it on our graph. So hopefully you can see that y minus 5 equals negative 4 times x minus 1 is actually the same as y equals negative 4x plus 9. Those end up being the same because it's just a different way to show the same equation without knowing the y-intercept. Okay, let's see if I can erase that. Maybe. There, okay. So now let's, I took out my eraser. What's up with that? Okay, so that's for my other one. Ooh, see, now it's a big fat pen. I don't want a big fat pen. All right, so now let's do number 5, because that was not for number 5. So we have point slope form. Here's our x1, y1. Here's our slope. So y minus 1 equals 3 over 2 times x minus negative 4, which makes x plus 4. And if it says point slope form, you are finished when it says that. If it says change it to slope intercept form, then you have to change it. So just make note of what equation it's asking for, because you may have to simplify it or you may be able to leave it in point slope form. Okay, so number 6, we're looking for an undefined slope, which immediately makes me think of Hooy-Vux. Vux is my undefined slope. It's going to be vertical. It's going to be x equals, and it's going to go through 5, negative 3. 5, negative 3 is over here. It's a vertical line. Doesn't really matter what form it asks me to be in, because vertical lines are simply x equals. So I have x equals. I can take my x from there. X equals 5 is the equation for the line. Alrighty. Okay. So here is an equation for a line that has a slope of 0. So I know that that's going to be a horizontal line. But we'll go ahead and use our point slope form, because now I have x1, y1, y minus 4 equals 0 times x plus 3. When I multiply everything by 0, I end up with y minus 4 equals 0, y equals 4. And hopefully you can see how you would have been able to write that only from that point. Just like in number 6, all we needed was the x value to write our equation. Same thing in number 7, all we needed was the y value. Oh wow, that went with me, that was weird. Okay, so you can really skip this part when you know that you have 0 slope or undefined slope. Okay, so now we need to do point slope for this graph, and we have 2 points, but we do not have the slope. So let's find the slope. I'm going to call this one x1, y1, x2, y2. So I have negative 3 plus 5 over 5 minus 0 equals 2 over 5. So since it says point slope form, I'm not going to use the intercept. I'm going to go ahead and use this point. So I have y minus a negative 3, which means it's plus 3, equals 2 over 5 times x minus 5. And that's point slope form. So I found the slope from the points given, and then I picked one of the points to write my point slope form. Okay, so if I have a y-intercept of 1, I'm not using point slope form, I'm using slope intercept. But I have 2 points, I do not have the slope. So y-intercept of -1 means 0, -1. So I have x1, y1, x2, y2. So my slope is going to be -1 minus 5 and 0 minus 3. So I end up with -6 over -3, which is 2. So my slope has to be 2, which means I already know which one's my answer. It also has to have -1 for the y-intercept. So D would be correct. Okay. Okay, so we have $25 per hour. That's going to be my slope because it has the magic word per in it. And there's an initial service charge, which is just a one-time fee. So the slope is 25. And if we need a point is going to be 3 hours is 105. So if I need point slope form, I can write, I'm looking for H and C. So I have C equals 25. Oh, no. C minus 105 equals 25 times X minus 3. That would be my point slope form. Because this is X1 and this is Y1. Okay. We don't know the initial service call charge until we work this out. So let's have C minus 105 equals 25X minus 75. I'm going to add 105 to both sides. I'm going to move everything over because I seem to have not given myself enough room. So we have 25X plus 75, 85, 95, 105, $30. So from this, I know that my initial service charge is $30 because that's my y-intercept, which would be my initial charge. And for 7 hours, I'm going to have 25 times 7 plus 30. 25 times 7 is 175 plus 30 is 205. So that would be the bill for 7 hours would be $205. The initial service call charge is $30. And my equation is right here. Pretty straightforward. It's just another way to write a line with different information, but both of these equations can give you the same line that you could draw the equation. Just different forms, but it's the same thing. So that's where the magic comes in.